All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. It's been a couple of weeks. I know I was gone last week, so I was unable to stream, but nothing has changed in my analysis. In fact, actually, I shouldn't say that because Bitcoin has got slightly more bearish since the last time I streamed, and I want to talk about that. So basically, you guys know that since Christmas, basically, I had some bearish predictions and talking about January 20th as being a potential top. There we are. The reason why I'm still so bearish is because nothing has changed. Our downtrend just keeps continuing. This is just a 4 hour, you guys. So this isn't even the main downtrend that I'm concerned with. This is just very basic market structure. Nothing crazy going on here. I know, yes, it's very volatile because of all the tariff nonsense going on right now. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, but as far as what the structure is actually doing is very well respected technical analysis. If you zoom in too much, yeah, you can get blinded, but just look at this, guys. On the 4 hour, we have not broken a lower high since we topped out in January. We have recently set a lower low. People got very excited when we saw that bounce yesterday. Understand, guys, that even though that, like, people were celebrating this bounce yesterday, and I want to be very clear about something. We were nowhere frickin' close to breaking resistance. We did not break any sort of lower high, because if this is our low, this is our lower low. The highest point between the two is our confirmed lower high, which is up at 89K approximately. We never got close to that. We never even got close to my 786. What we did end up seeing is that if I pull a Fibonacci, and I know a lot of people love the 618 fib, if that's you, I mean, look where we ended up getting rejected here. Just to put things into perspective, does it make sense that we got rejected there? Yeah, I mean, I know, Adrian, you and I have been talking about this for, basically a month or two at this point, that we keep, throwing out these lower high targets for, where we think that it's possible that the price will get to, basically. I thought it was very possible that we end up getting up towards this Stuber fib on the 4 hour or the lower high resistance. But every swing, we are seeing resistance. Well, not even resistance. We're not getting to resistance. We are seeing the bears step in, or just weakness coming in from the bulls early. And here's a perfect example, because, like I said, we never made it near the 786. We hit the 618 and got stopped dead in our tracks there. Just to show you another example is this last swing. I had a Stuber fib up around 91K, but we never got near it. But notice what we did end up getting to was, again, the 618. 618. So these pumps, these record-breaking pumps, as it was called yesterday, never even broke structure on the 4 hour chart. So that's just to put things into perspective of how wild that people's emotions are going right now, getting so excited about that sort of thing. If this was a 5 minute chart or a 1 minute chart, I would feel the exact same about it. The structure is the exact same. I will not consider, guys, I want to be very clear about this. I will not even entertain the idea of considering the possibility that the bottom is in until we at least break a lower high. And right now, that lower high is 89K. Before that, it was 95K. We're not getting close to those levels, and that's my main concern with Bitcoin. Yeah, we get a nice double bottom. That's fine. The structure has not changed. This is not a lower high. I want to be very clear about that. This is our low. This is our lower low. The lower high is the highest point between the two. That's our confirmed lower high. If you were treating this as a lower high, you're just assuming that it's going to happen. So basically, yeah, 4 hour still looks like trash to me. The Trendmaster indicator, ever since January, we've had these downward trending sell and buy signals on the 4 hour with the Trendmaster indicator. You guys know I love using that as confluence for my trade setups. Just how I'm looking at the overall trend in general. I love looking at which way these buy and sell signals are trending on this indicator, and it's a very obvious trend to the downside. Even though we got above this blue line, it never flipped to a higher buy signal or anything like that. Even if we get a buy signal right now, it's probably going to be a lower buy signal. And then that's where I would start to look at these resistance levels for a potential short. Unfortunately, it just does not look great on the 4 hour. Also, the liquidations band indicator. Notice what we're fighting resistance, the exact same level there. Absolutely pinpoint accurate, actually. That is actually incredible. Yeah, there's just a few things, you guys, with this chart that I definitely have my concerns with. And then from there, guys, it gets even worse, right? As I always mention, I zoom out to the weekly chart. Nothing has changed here. A few people got really excited yesterday telling me that the RSI was breaking. On my chart, it doesn't look like it's even that close. I depends how you pull this. I like very exact touch points when I'm trading diagonal trend lines. So as far as I'm concerned, this RSI is not even worth entertaining the idea at this point that it's breaking, because not only does it need to break, but it needs to break and hold that for the candle close. Basically, these last back here, I think there was 2 weeks in a row, maybe even 3. I think it was 2 weeks in a row where the RSI started the week on Monday breaking this level, and people were telling me that it broke, and I said, well, we have to wait and see how the week closes, and then we just got a perfect rejection, our third touch point rejection. So right now, I don't consider that broken at all. It still can, and that's also another thing, guys, is once these levels and once these signals start getting invalidated, at that point I will finally be willing to at least acknowledge the possibility that the bottom could be in. We may go higher from there. But I have my doubts, you guys. I really think at this point that we either are in a bear market or get a bear market size move. I know that's a very unpopular opinion. It's starting to be a little more popular, but people get bearish, but they are very quickly convinced to get bullish again. So that's the difference is, guys, a lot of people are starting to get bearish just because they've been wrecked from the top. But understand that I've been bearish since here. Actually, right here is where I was warning about a potential double top bearish divergence with the RSI like this, exactly as it ended up playing. And since I was so ready for it and I was just kind of joking about that signal, and it ended up happening. Well, at that point, I was absolutely ready for it, right? And on top of that, the Wave Master having that big, beautiful reversal as well. That is starting to look like it's getting close to bottoming. I will say that. Another reason why I think we go a little lower right now, and also understand, guys, even if I hate even throwing out the term bear market right now because I know people get upset and triggered by that. Understand that we'll still have bounces if that happens. And I would expect a very strong bounce from my purple box down here if we get down to these levels. That would be about 63 down to 56K. That would basically be, since we lost this structure here, we lost our support on the weekly time frame of a fairly large range there. If we were going to go test the Stuber of the previous range, that would be that purple box. I know a lot of people like to say that that can't happen or it won't happen just because they can't comprehend that the big numbers on the side of the screen. Guys, I don't give a shit if this is a weekly chart, a daily chart, a 4-hour chart, hourly chart, 15-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute, 5-second chart. I don't care. Structure is structure, and I always look for those fib pockets when I'm looking for my trade setups. So as far as I'm concerned, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be longing the shit out of this level if we do get to that level. And that doesn't even mean that I'm bullish. That's just playing a very obvious support level. I think if we get there, it's very likely that we end up doing something like this. This is very theoretical at this time. This would take a long time to play out. But I can't help but to feel that that may be in the cards for Bitcoin. I don't know if we're even going to get that high, but I think that would make a lot of sense that we get some sort of a Stuber fib retrace, right? I think that would be perfect. And guys, understand, even for me, even as I'm saying this right now, I know that if we get up to these levels, I will be feeling a little bit of that FOMO of, well, this might be it. We might be going skyrocketing to new all-time highs, etc. But understand, the FOMO is going to get crazy. Twitter is going to be unbearable and a dangerous echo chamber. If you start going into social media as we start trading into resistance, here's the thing. Retail loves getting FOMO at resistance, just like they love getting scared at support. Right? So being we have such bearish structure to the downside there, it would make, I would personally rather either start looking for shorts in that resistance pocket, or just stay out of the market completely and wait for a bullish confirmation of actually setting a new high. There's no way in hell I will be FOMOing longs into a level like this if we start bouncing to the upside. Again, this is all very theoretical at this time. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's just something that I would not be too surprised if we do get that. Because, guys, like I said, if we get down to this Stuber fib pocket, in my opinion, we will get a very strong bounce from that level. It will be quick. I think that, you know, there will be some very green days in the market. But I think that's one of those times where we will instantly see Twitter and those types of socials going nuts saying that the bottom is in, this was a bear trap, you know, all the same stuff that we've heard the last 35 times that we've seen that kind of a thing off like a 4-hour level, for example. The market right now is so emotional and so emotionally attached to political biases and stuff like that right now that people can't even stay calm if they see green candles for 3 hours. You know, like, really, what happened on the 4-hour yesterday? There was basically a big 4-hour move and the market went absolutely ballistic. That just goes to show how much copium, FOMO, all that sort of stuff is in the market right now when the market structure never even changed. If anything, I would love, if the price did something like this and we actually break this lower high, sure, I will absolutely accept the possibility that there is, you know, a potential bottom, because then at least we have structure on even the 4-hour broken. But right now we don't. Nothing has changed here. Now, guys, now is the real nail in the coffin for me, and I know this will be familiar to some of you guys, but my monthly chart is actually the chart that I am most bearish on right now. People love to say when in doubt, zoom out, and that's supposed to be generally a bullish theory. The further I zoom out, the more terrified of this, well, I shouldn't say terrified, more excited that I get about a potential bear market here. Because, guys, let's just start with a naked chart and just look at these order blocks, right? These are the only 5 that I've found in Bitcoin's history on the monthly chart. And every time we've broke one, it has been a massive move. It has basically been, well, basically where the other market cycle really takes off, right? Or the other side of the market cycle. So just from a naked chart point of view, we have lost our micro trend support up here. Because you guys know how, and I know a lot of people are saying that, oh, this price action feels so similar to back here where we traded sideways for 8 months. This structure is nothing alike. I want to be very clear about that. It feels similar because there's been similar percentage retracements, but anybody who's saying that doesn't know what actual structure looks like, because there was no structure break here. Even if this candle would have closed below this level here, that is very different from what happened here, because here we didn't have an order block that got broken here, right? Our previous order block would have been way down here, so we got nowhere near that. Whereas here, we end up setting another one, whatever, or actually, no, sorry, this would have been the one, because this is what pushed us to new highs, right? Because we had our current, or our, sorry, temporary higher high at this point. And then when we got our higher high, that's when we confirm this as our order block, because that's the last stance that the bears tried to make, and we pushed to new highs at that point. So that would have been our order block. So more so something like that. So what's different about it is here we obviously had something similar, and although it's very close and you could consider this micro analyzing, but we had this swing fail. We had a swing fail there, and that was also a very slightly higher high. So we did technically push higher above this block, and then we ended up losing it, right? Massive engulfing monthly candle. That's a very serious structure break for so many reasons. For one, it's a massive engulfing candle compared to this green candle before it. 2, it is totally destroying this order block here. And 3, it actually got retested perfectly for an SR flip, flipping from support to resistance. Look at that. We wicked right back into that. People got FOMO again. People were saying that it was a bear trap and all that sort of nonsense. And boom, we just saw support flip into resistance. So guys, the monthly chart not looking good, and that's just from a naked eye perspective. Let's throw some indicators into the mix. The MDX Wave Master, beautiful momentum indicator, okay? This indicator is basically a massive momentum indicator. And what we have here is every time, and I'll admit that since it's a monthly chart, we don't have a ton of these signals, but so far, 100% of the time when this indicator crosses on the monthly chart, it has been basically a perfect reversal of the market cycle. You can see this, I laid it out with these vertical lines here just so you can see exactly where it happened, and notice that we have recently had that as well. So yeah, it could be different this time, right? Anything could happen. This does not have to play out again, but even the fact that we were in overbought territory, right? This indicator was starting to flash red before this, just like back here, seeing all the same signals there, and just like the opposite on the bullish side, right? We had the bright green coming into play as we got our bullish cross, bright green as we get our bullish cross there. So every time this has called for absolutely phenomenal reversals in this market. And we have that right now. So I can't ignore that. Let's throw on one more indicator, you guys. I know for those of you who have been in this Discord for quite some time, you'll know I've been here for just under 3 years at this point doing these streams. One of the very first strategies that I came up with these indicators was these reversal warnings, these W's on the trend dynamic indicator, and pointing out which way they are trending. Much like just with the trend master indicator, how I talk about, you know, lower sell signals or higher buy signals. I love to look for that trending indicator, right? So not just the signals themselves, but when they start trending. And here is one of those times where we got a double reversal warning. So not just one, but immediately the market or this indicator was like, yep, again, seeing those same signs, but actually a lower reversal warning. The last time this happened was in 2014, I believe. Yeah, back here, the only other time that it's happened on the monthly chart, and that was back at the start of February in 2014. And you know, that lines up quite well on the, to the day of the year kind of a thing of when we started reversing aggressively as well. But I'm not so much into the timing thing as much as I am into what I actually see in the structure of the charts. And again, this reversal warning and which way they are trending is a huge red flag to me that we got that. Matching up with, like I said, the Wave Master indicator bearish cross, as well as the naked structure in the chart, breaking structure. So on this chart right here, I see 3 very serious bear market warning signs on this monthly chart. So I wish I had better news, but it is what it is. And honestly, guys, again, as soon as some of these things start being invalidated, I'm totally okay to start becoming a moon boy again. It's just that there's so many people who are straight up ignoring what the charts are telling them because they have such an emotional bias, a political bias, just thinking you understand economics better than you actually do. There's so many ways you can misanalyze what's actually happening in the global economy versus just reading a couple colorful lines. You know, like people are out there trying to figure out the whole world economy and to get an edge on the market when they can't read basic market structure. So, I mean, which one are you more likely to make a mistake in, right? So that's where I like to trade the charts. And I also like to trade the charts that are here, not the charts that I think are going to be here a month from now, right? Charting and trading is not necessarily about analyzing and predicting where the price is going to go. It's more so, how are you going to react when the price gets where you are expecting it to go? Being able to react when the chart does certain things. And this is one of those things where I just see so many bearish things happening. I've been very happy to trade the downside recently. One of the shorts I'm in right now, the best one that I took was just a Stuber fib on the 1 minute. Basically just the fact that, like I went over on the 4 hour, that I thought it was very likely we see weakness a little bit early, just like we have in the last several swings. The fact that we were at the 618, seeing weakness, seeing a big ass Stuber fib on the 1 minute here. Unfortunately, never hit all my entries there, but I did end up catching my 786 order, and then I ended up adding like 5 other short positions or something on the way down, and I was updating my stop loss very quickly on them. But we just ended up trending to the downside because, like I said, in both groups that I'm in, both my private Telegram as well as in the MDX Algo Discord, I was talking about the fact that I really thought it was just shaping up to be a bit of a BART pattern. That being said, guys, even though I am so bearish, I'm obviously taking profits on that kind of a position, right? I only have about a quarter of my short positions still open at this time, just in case we keep running. But at this point, if we reverse and people are going to tell me I was wrong, I'm going to say, okay, whatever, I was wrong. I made a bunch of money. That sucks. Unfortunate, I guess, right? So, yeah, guys, talking about the 4 hour too with this 618, I know I pointed out that it happened on these couple swings here. Some of you may remember this, but I actually still do have a quarter of my short running from 101,626. Let me get this back on this chart. Basically, my reasoning for that short, it was right on this pump. Same thing, right? We saw an aggressive move to the upside. It was based around Trump tweets again. We got a nice reaction there. It was basically a reaction off this Stuber fib. I played the long. We started to see weakness early, and Trump started tweeting bullish things, and the market just looked like it was getting weak. We started losing 5-minute structure and stuff like that. So I ended up pulling another fib as well. Just last night, actually, is when I just pulled this fib to take a gander, because I remember that it showed weakness early there. And same thing, right? We got very close to the 618, and the bears stepped in quickly. The bulls lost momentum very quickly. We never even got to my 786, right? So again, just another example of where this one actually looked better to me. We had 2 big green 4-hour candles, not just one. So yeah, we had the exact same reaction though, right? Everyone was saying that was a bear trap. Everybody was saying that, oh, we're going to new all-time highs, and how could you ever be bearish after a pump like that? And that was the top, right? Very similar to what I'm feeling at this level. But again, if we end up breaking this lower high, I feel very different about this chart, because again, it's way more important to be able to react than it is to predict. I'm not going to start trading bullishly assuming we're going to break this lower high resistance. I would rather wait for that lower high resistance to break and then get into a long on a pullback. And realistically, people who don't understand market structure as well would see this pullback and they would think, oh, here we go again. It's time to start shorting right into support, because they don't realize the difference between this and let's say something like this. These are 2 very, very different setups, even though they look very similar, right? Because here we've actually broken this lower high resistance. If we don't break that, we don't actually have bullish structure still, right? We're still just setting a slightly lower high or just coming and retesting resistance. There's nothing bullish about this one. I would be looking at shorting that. Whereas if we break above the Stuber fib invalidation, even just above the lower high, get a pullback, then I feel very different about it. Then I am willing to at least consider some longs. I would actually very much so like to trade a long like that. Again, a big if, but if we break that lower high, let's just see how close my eyeball was here. Right around that 786. I would love to trade this type of a long setup. I would love to be a moon boy again, you guys, but we just literally have 0 reasons right now. There has been no structure on the 4-hour or higher that has been bullish ever since January. Even like, guys, the 4-hour isn't even a long time frame. Honestly, realistically, most traders should probably be trading the 4-hour chart. It's a good midterm, you have time to react. There's nice big moves. There's nice big, what I thought are predictable price movements, but it seems that technical analysis went straight out the window just after the election, basically. And that goes for both sides, right? People just have such a hard time changing their bias or being able to see things, thinking outside their own box, kind of a thing. And honestly, it's good to be able to trade against your own bias. I have a strong ability to not get too emotionally attached to ideas. I know I have been very attached to my bearish ideas, so that sounds a little bit funny, but the only reason why I am is because the technicals still show it. If the technicals show otherwise, I'm willing to totally change my idea on the markets, but it is what it is. Solana, you guys, quite a while ago, I know I was talking about the possibility of Solana going down to about $80. It still feels a little bit ridiculous for me to say that, but if we are to retrace this whole cycle, that would be down around $76. Again, I don't know if we're going to get down to those levels, but the chart just doesn't look all that great to me. We never found support at the 618. Basically after we lost, because here's the thing, guys, at this point we still had bullish structure, right? Because we had a high, we had a higher high. That meant that this was our higher low on the trend, and as soon as that broke, I mean, this trend just got devastated, right? I can even let's just treat this as our order block, right? It's our higher low because it's the lowest point between our high and our higher high. And it is also the last stance the bears had before pushing to new highs, right? So let's just outline that entire red candle there and notice where we ended up getting rejected when we lost it. We got a nice big pump right up to that level, and we got a support resist flip. Exactly what we saw in Bitcoin on the monthly chart, right? It's the same thing. So that just doesn't look all too good to me. That is a daily time frame, so that is longer. And yes, there's going to be bounces in between, but just understand that this structure does not look great. It is possible that, if Bitcoin is going to recover here, maybe this is an important support level, because let's face it, it is. It's just that that's not really where this trend began. So at this point, and also just thinking that if Bitcoin ends up dropping further, then I think altcoins would obviously get hammered again as well. And also this would line up quite well where if Bitcoin ends up hitting that Stuber pocket on the weekly at like 63K, I think it would make a lot of sense that altcoins, something like Solana, would also end up hitting that fib. I think it makes a lot of sense that could happen. But again, guys, these are a lot of what ifs. These are longer time frames. There's a lot of trades to be made between now and then. But as it stands, yeah, that's basically my reasoning why I've been so bearish on this market for the last 2-3 months. I think December 23rd was when I started warning about this potential setup. And it was early January where I basically had acknowledged that I thought the 20th was going to be a very obvious sell the news event, honestly. Every time Bitcoin, like even in this range back here, this is kind of where Trump started talking about Bitcoin a lot. We saw so many times that every time he was coming into a speech or about to make a crypto announcement or anything was right as we were trading up into a Stuber fib pocket on a big time frame. And people would say, how could you be bearish right now? We're about to go to 200K, whatever, 100K, 200K, whatever. And they would be saying that, getting FOMO right in resistance. We saw it there. We set a new low, and then we could pull a fib there. Notice where we got stopped again, right in that Fibonacci pocket. Came back down, set a new low with that wick there. Ended up eventually breaking, but we did still get that pullback up towards the 786. Came down to the 214. Even from here, if we shorted the 786 again, we did get the 0.5 target. Eventually we ended up breaking, right? And with that, we got that RSI downtrend line break as well. So at that point, I was willing to accept that, yeah, I think we go higher. Just like right here, if we break that RSI trend line, then I at least will entertain the idea that the bottom could be in, and we could be going for either new highs or to retest somewhere near our highs. We'd obviously have to see what Bitcoin decides to do at the highs, because like I said, I think it's set up that if we got some sort of a crazy bounce just being that the monthly has all these crazy bearish signals when you zoom right out, I think it makes a lot of sense that even if the weekly gets a strong bounce, I think there's going to be a rejection, either a Stuber fib or a double top, maybe even a little bit of a liquidity grab, which could fit into the Stuber fib theory, which would be up towards 115K. But honestly, I don't really think that we're going to set new highs. I know a lot of people are getting comfortable with the idea of, oh, one more push and then I'm going to sell my bags. A lot of people feel that right now. But just remember that whenever we ended up breaking these order blocks on the monthly, it's not too often that we're actually, breaking them one more time. I guess COVID, we did technically break this one again. But other than that, no. The SR flips ended up getting respected even right here. Absolutely perfectly wicked that. So, yeah, I don't know if it's reasonable to expect new highs or not. I personally don't expect it, but happy to be wrong. As we were talking earlier, before starting this stream, those of you who are here with me live, we were talking about, a lot of, well, actually we were talking about a whole bunch of stuff there, but I still, just like everybody else, well, not everybody, but like most people out there who are upset that their bags are getting crushed and that sort of thing, we were just talking about this, that I still hold most of my spot too, right? I feel very different about my investments versus my trading accounts, very differently. I am very, very bullish on Bitcoin overall, you guys, and that's why I'm okay and happy being bearish on the price. Whereas a lot of people who claim to be bullish on crypto won't be here anymore if a bear market happens. They say they're bullish. They're only bullish on the price. They are not actually bullish on it. Whereas I'm bullish enough on crypto that I would love to see Bitcoin absolutely crash. I'd love to buy more for cheaper. I don't know if I'm lucky enough to get some of my targets that I'm aiming for. But yeah, understand that, my investments are getting hammered too. My altcoin bag's getting absolutely devastated. But my trading account loves the fact that I'm shorting. So, it is what it is. Shorter time frame, guys, here. Zoomed right into the 1 minute. Well, actually, just noticing on the 1 minute, we obviously have these lower sell signals, lower buy signals. Again, just seeing weakness. Notice how we had higher trending sell signals and buy signals for a while, and now it's rolling over. I want to zoom out to the 5 minute. See what the trend master is saying, and same thing, right? I'd pointed this out earlier that we have lower trending sell signals, and we have even recently printed another lower sell signal. So if we end up breaking this, honestly, I'm going to probably close the rest of my shorts if we break above 80.3. Just because at that point we'd be invalidating this lower sell trend and lower buy trends. And at that point, it would be a little bit of a double buy signal, very likely a higher buy signal. So just a warning sign that we might be reversing for a while, right? And if that happens, I will absolutely be looking for new shorting opportunities. I don't know if we would get a retest of the whole range because, again, weakness keeps setting in early. But if we end up bouncing, I would love to look for some short opportunities up in this Stuber fib up here. But we'll have to see what happens. The fact that we never barted straight back down to this level, I mean, at least we found support somewhere. So maybe that's a weird sign of strength here. But I don't know. That's still a pretty gross looking chart to me. Guys, I should get caught up in the chat. For all I know, I've been talking to myself and my mic isn't working. I have no idea. Oh, excuse me. One sec. Let me catch up on the chat, you guys. Also, if you have any altcoins you want me to check, let me know what time frame. Adrian, I know you had mentioned hype. I will take a look at, I will get it up here before. Let's go BloFin because that's where I trade. And before I actually dive into it, I will get it up with the indicators. I will remove all my drawings. Higher trending buy signals, higher trending sell signals. Looks like it's losing strength. Okay, let me catch up on the chat here, Leggies, and we will just let hype play in the background here. Yeah, Adrian. Boy, I got wrecked yesterday in my DMs with people telling me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I get it all the time too. When as soon as we pump, and it's like I wasn't wrong. In fact, I just got like yesterday. I took 6 short entries on that climb and very close to the top, and I have no complaints. You want to know how to make thousands of dollars overnight? It's by trading charts rather than tweets. That's I should write a thread about that on Twitter. Manta, you were thinking the same on Solana. Now you don't feel so nuts. Yeah, unfortunately, I have my concerns with that. But again, if Bitcoin does end up breaking some of my invalidations and stuff, understand, guys, I'm only a perma bear until at least one of my signals gets invalidated. People, like I've had people DMing me and being like, "Oh, are you changing your mind yet?" Like again, after even people who aren't necessarily telling me I'm wrong, but being like, "Well, have you changed your mind yet?" Well, no. Have I clearly lay out all of my invalidations on stream? Have any of those been invalidated yet? Well, no, but we got a nice bounce. Okay, so nothing's changed. Bounces happen, reaction rallies happen. The fact that very bullish things, very bullish tweets, very bullish fundamentals keep just setting, they keep coming in. Like notice the timing, you guys, on the 4-hour charts, especially. So I know a lot of you guys. I know a lot of you guys saw like when Trump had tweeted yesterday when it was a good time to buy, etc., and we ended up pumping from there. Understand that those tweets are coming after we've set a lower low, so structure is to the downside. Bullish news gives us a pump. We do not break any structure. If this was a bull market, bullish fundamentals generally push you to new highs. They make you break highs, you set higher highs, and you staircase higher. But all that we see every time, if you know how to read structure and notice lower lows and lower highs, every time we get something bullish rammed down our throat, we get a pump, we set a lower high, and we get rejected. Those tweets and those announcements, and it's not just him, right? Like I know I feel like I'm just ragging on Trump, but honestly, it's just the whole it's everything. It's the whole market. It's the headlines in general. It's the echo chambers on social media. You see people you see those bullish things coming out as we set bearish structure. We get a reaction rally. It gets rejected, and then we continue our bearish trend. This is another reason. This is another fucking huge red flag for me for why I also think that we could be in a bear market right now. Because the last 2 bear markets that I've been in, that is the exact characteristics of it. There was constant bullish fundamentals being rammed down my throat, and the price kept setting lower lows and lower highs. That is not bull market characteristics, if you ask me. But again, guys, I am very happy to be proven wrong, right? As soon as we invalidate my lower high, we invalidate one of my signals on either the monthly chart. Like I said, 3 big red flags for me on this chart. Weekly still has my red flags. 4-hour hasn't broken structure for months. That's really what's holding me bearish. Indicators still pointing to the downside. Lower sell signals, lower buy signals. It's okay to be bullish. And the thing is, guys, understand that there's probably bulls out there who are trading the bullish side better than I'm trading the bearish side, right? All that matters at the end of the day is how you're actually executing your trades. Analysis is great. It's great to have a good overall opinion and view of where the market is heading to help your trading strategies and help you pick a direction. But at the end of the day, I could be very out to lunch on this whole theory about this being a bear market, and I can still make money in the process while we're trading to the downside, right? It's just as long as you are able to execute a trade, you have a proper strategy for entries and take profits and updating stop losses. So that, like, this is one of those things, you guys, basically crypto, well, trading and being a weatherman, you can be wrong and you can still make money. It all depends on how you execute your plan. Again, I'll go back to hype here. I want to check out the 1 minute on hype. I assume we probably got a lower sell signal on the trend master, actually. I noticed we did. You know what? Oh, we got a nice swing fail there, even though it's just the 1 minute. Beautiful little rejection there. That would have been a nice short, but obviously never took it, so it is what it is. But that being said, that means that we had this as our higher low on the trend, right? Because high, although it's minimal, higher high, higher low. This green line, now that it's been broken, I can start pulling a Stuber fib. And basically, if the price keeps going to the downside, I can just continue chasing the price. So if at some point I do get a bounce, then I could get a short on something like that. I haven't been trading hype myself at all this week or anything. Actually, honestly, for the last 2 weeks, I wasn't trading very much because you guys know I was snowboarding last week and stuff like that. But I'm back in the charts now, and yeah, honestly, first thing I basically did was took some shorts, and then yesterday we got that pump. I opened 6 new short positions. I still got 1 left, and yeah, I bearish until proven otherwise, basically. That is my theory. On the BTC Hopium pipe, when I was staring at the charts the other day, I zoomed in on January 1st, 2023 and March 1st, 2023. It's looking like pretty uncanny fractal. The other part of that makes that pipe smoke taste better is that the macro market faceplant is the US president put his finger on the scale with the tariffs. If he takes his finger off said scale, well, that's up for debate. I'm hedged regardless, but it's something I noticed. January 2023, you say? So down here, the thing is about that, a lot of signals look quite different, right? The RSI, we actually had a bullish divergence happening on the RSI rather than a bearish, as well as the monthly chart. Notice what happened shortly after. That would have been basically right around here. That's when the wave master started, got its bullish cross and started curling to the upside, whereas right now it got a bearish cross and it's curling to the downside. So a lot of momentum suggests that it's quite different when you really zoom out, right? The shorter time frames, I agree. But again, I just need the 4 hour at least to break some structure, because every time that the Hopium goes crazy, it's honestly just, we have not broken structure, right? Even though yesterday was apparently a record breaking day in the markets, we never even broke a lower high. So just kind of shows the lack of strength in the markets, in my opinion. And that's all biases aside. That's just straight up looking at a naked chart right here. This chart right here says everything that I need to know, that we're just still in a downtrend. Ooh, always looking for ETH shorts. Honestly, that's something that it always slips my mind. I almost never look at Ethereum. I should really start shorting Ethereum again. Meow just shared a chart. You guys can't see this on my screen who are watching this later. Oh yeah, the old double reversal diamond on the monthly. See what you're seeing. Can I check Sui? I would absolutely check Sui. Let me just duplicate this so I can keep that hype up. And just keeping an eye on Bitcoin and stuff. Yeah, that lower sell signal is coming into play. Perfect. Sui. Yeah, I haven't looked at Sui since returning from my trip here. To me, it already looks like it's forming some sort of a rising wedge. Just the way that it's grinding to the upside. Lower buy signals, lower sell signals on the trend master. And also just how the price action, obviously we lost our lows, right? We broke structure to the downside. And now it's just a painful grind to the upside. Rather than, you know, getting some sort of a break of structure, retest, and then carry on. It's just a slow grind. I would be very open to the idea of shorting something like this if we ended up getting a bounce towards this resistance. If that ends up breaking, I'd be more so looking for a fib pull from the very top of that range. It is possible that we get a full retest, but again, the micro trend on this downtrend here, I'm not so sure we're going to end up breaking above this resistance here. That's a 5 minute. What's the 4 hour looking like? I am going to do, it looks like I already had some things mapped out. Let's see how it's, yeah, I mean, I had that purple box there. I do not have a short open from here anymore. But yeah, same thing, right? Is Sui obviously had a Stuber fib right here. My yellow marks here pointing out the lower low. That means my lower high is right here. Pulling a fib. Notice where we got rejected, right in my purple box there, Stuber fib. Trend master also still lower trending buy signals, lower trending sell signals. Basically flirting with resistance right now. It actually kind of looks like it might flip, being that we got this guy coming in underneath here, providing some potential support. But again, that's just honestly trying to dig for something bullish. The trend looks obviously to the downside for me. Being that we have now set another lower low, let's just move this guy over. New lower low. That means the highest point between the two is my new confirmed lower high. Going to make my lower high right there. Lock that guy in place. Draw a little Stuber fib here. So if Sui ends up getting a bounce, I would be very interested in looking at the lower time frame for shorts up in this purple box here. Bearish until proven otherwise, as they say. Your knees, that's funny. Mate, as soon as I turned off notifications from Twitter, my wins have gone up so much more. Actually trading without outside noise is amazing. Man, I could not agree more. Honestly, one of my strongest points, I'm one of those people who I'm very aware of my strengths and my weaknesses, and probably my best hedge to the markets, my best attribute for being a trader is that I'm very good at ignoring noise and not getting too wrapped up in it, and just honestly, I keep things simple charts, simple strategies for a simple guy. That's all there is to it, right? The more simple you keep it, generally the better off you're going to do. If you really try and start picking apart how the whole world economy is going to react to everything when everything is so uncertain in absolutely every angle right now, to try and think that you're going to have an edge over reading a few colorful lines by trying to comprehend all that, that's just absolute nonsense. Twitter is the ultimate hedge trade, pretty much, eh? Meow the bear dog. Hell yeah. Sui looks like it's gonna nuke. Yeah, I agree. It looks like it's going to. We will see what happens, because again, it would be very normal to get a bounce, right? It would be very natural, being that we have set a lower low. It makes total sense that we would get some sort of a retrace. And that's the thing that most people don't understand with trading, is everyone thinks everything has to be a breakout trade, like, oh, you lost support, time to go straight to nuke. No, the whole point of my Stuber fib strategy, you guys, is that you break structure and you get a retrace. That's why this Bitcoin move to the upside was absolutely fucking trash, in my opinion, is that there was nothing crazy that happened here. We broke the lows and we got a retest. I can't even say we retested resistance. We couldn't get that high. I mean, you can, I shouldn't say that. There's obviously resistance in this level, just not the resistance that I typically like to short, right? The Stuber fibs. Weakness just came in early. Oh man, yeah, hype. That's a nice one. I should have looked at it right at the start of stream. Adrian, you should have bullied me into it before we even started. Actually, when did this happen? This is 42, 342. Yeah, we definitely would have been somewhere over here. Could have had a nice little Stuber there. Oh well. It is what it is. I blame everyone but myself. Super JK. I listen to you. I respect your opinion. I do like to blame you. It's fun. It's easier than blaming myself. All right, guys. That's pretty much what I wanted to go over today. I know I got a little ranty, and hopefully you guys were able to sit through that, but hopefully everything I said makes sense, because everything I ranted about, I try to be very realistic with my analysis, and I know it's not what everyone wants to hear, but there's so many things being misunderstood right now, and honestly, even by myself, like I can't promise you how the market's going to react to everything going on right now. There's pros and cons to everything, right? So I know sometimes I sound a little one-sided, but I understand there's pros and cons to everything, you guys. And that's why I'm trading the charts and just ignoring the noise. Anyone have any last minute questions or anything? Yeah, you've heard us do rant. This wasn't a bad one. This was just ranting about the price action. But I could rant about how bad this monthly chart looks all frickin' day. All day. I'm gonna buy every time Bitcoin goes to jail and sell when he gets out. Oh, that's funny. I asked my buddy today. I was like, "How's that guy doing?" I haven't. Wonder how he's doing. I haven't heard of. I haven't seen him on Twitter and stuff as much. Ooh, the biggest meme coin ever, the Dixie. Let's take a look at the old Dixie. Man, hype is really looking like it's coiling up and ready to kind of reverse for that move to the upside. Almost tempted to take a long and try and catch it up towards resistance, but maybe when I'm done this so I'm not so sidetracked. Yeah, the Dixie, that's what we were going to look at. Real quick here, biggest shitcoin of them all. Let's see what it's doing. So here's another thing, you guys. Everybody always says how insanely bullish it is for Bitcoin when the Dixie is dropping Well, just look at what's been happening to both. And I've said this many times that although it's somewhat rare, a lot of the times those two move together. And this is very much one of those times, right? So that's one of those things where people try and get an edge, but sometimes too much is not good either. And you start analyzing too many things and just trying to connect dots to fit your own bias. That's the thing, right? When you're looking for confluence, look for actual confluence. Like, I'm always a naked charts first, and from there I look for confluence with indicators and stuff like that, or other trade pairs like this, for example, as confluence. And if they're not lining up, they're not lining up, right? I'm not trying to force my opinion to be correct just so I can take a trade. Like, there's no reason to do that, right? If you're just looking for your own, basically to prove yourself right rather than looking at what's actually right in the charts, like, why would you be so desperate to take an incorrect position just because you want to feel a certain way? So yeah, for me, it's always naked chart structure first, and from there, looking at indicators and that sort of thing. Notice the DXY. I did apparently have a Stuber fib already outlined here. We got very close to it. Never quite made it. We actually hit the order block instead, right? Before we got that last push to the upside. That's our red candle here. And just notice that's exactly where we came back up. Got that support resist flip once again. Again, it's nothing crazy. Yes, things are volatile, but charts are doing basic chart stuff. People who are saying that they're getting wrecked and it's only because, and here's where, again, I'll give credit where credit is due. This has nothing to do with my own bias. There's a lot of people out there who are saying like, oh, I would be doing great, but Trump tweeted this and got me wrecked or whatever, or he said something about tariffs and got me wrecked. Guys, the charts have not, like, I understand it's fun to try and blame other people like I was just doing to Adrian as a goof. But understand that at the end of the day, the markets have been respecting structure very well. Yes, it's crazy volatile, but it's not acting irrationally at all. Like, it makes perfect sense why the Dixie would have got rejected here, because there was an order block we lost, right? Just like that monthly chart on Bitcoin I'm talking about. I would agree with that. Stablecoin dominance is a better choice when looking for that kind of. What is it? Just USDT.D? So stablecoin dominance has been climbing since, well, yeah, let's see. Yeah, right there, right? Where was there, January 20th, right there. That is our market reversal day. And we see stablecoin dominance climbing, right? Perfect double bottom there. Or that same swing fail, actually. It's very small, but technically got a little lower there, so a little liquidity grab there, or a swing fail, a fake out, whatever you want to call it, and up from there. So if you want to be bullish on Bitcoin's price, I would definitely want to see this getting rejected around the 786, 886, or sooner, obviously. It's not overextended or anything yet. So what I think would happen is, honestly, I think if Bitcoin ends up hitting my Stuber fib around that 63K I was talking about earlier, I think we would see the stablecoin dominance being closer to the 786 up here. And that's where I think we would see Bitcoin get that bounce that I was talking about, while USDT dominance ends up dropping from there. I don't necessarily think it's a straight up reversal, but it would make sense for a bit of a reaction at least, right? So we'll have to see. But yeah, that's a good point, Chaos. Honestly, especially nowadays, I think it's more important to be looking at something like a stable coin dominance rather than the DXY when comparing to Bitcoin. That's a good point. Bitcoin, yeah, like I said, that lower sell signal looking great so far. Hype is still dropping. Weakness, weakness, weakness. I just can't be bullish on this chart. There is, technically, from the Algo Master, there is a bullish Stuber fib that we're trading at, but on it already played out, right? We already got from down here all the way to the 0.5 fib. Never hit the 214, but it did hit the 0.5 fib. So technically it's already played out. I don't like second tests of the fib pockets as much. I start to lose faith in it after the initial reaction. So I would say that's already played out. What I would love to see, and I would probably add aggressively to some shorts or adding new shorts or whatever, on the 4 hour, notice that we have a lower bullish reversal warning. I would love to see a lower reversal warning come in, something like that. Especially if it happens somewhere around here. Like as we're struggling with the resistance of the lower sell signal there on the Trendmaster, I would love to see a lower reversal warning come into play there. A little additional confluence there. Anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over. So hopefully you guys did find this stream useful. It will be uploaded to my YouTube channel as well very shortly. For those of you guys who are new here, most of you are familiar faces at this point, but for anyone new here, I do have my own YouTube channel where I share these mostly the videos I'm sharing on here are these live streams. Most of my other streaming is done on the Financial Summits YouTube channel, so also give them a follow. Here, I'll just bring it up. I do live streaming on this channel publicly as well. Also just did a BloFin tutorial there. But yes, I do some videos here. So do yourselves a favor and subscribe to both of those channels. Also on Twitter, posting stuff randomly here and there, some random analysis, stuff like that. But yeah, you know my overall thoughts on the markets, you guys. I'm basically bearish until proven otherwise. But of course, guys, like I said, the markets are very volatile right now. This is one of those things that we can do where even if we're wrong, we can make money, right? So don't forget to pay yourself. That's very important when it comes to trading. Reducing your risk, paying yourself, updating stop losses, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, be careful out there, you guys. Markets are extremely volatile. I've toned down my leverage big time. I cut it into about a third, just because, again, these swings are a lot bigger than what I'm used to from a couple of weeks ago. These moves are very large. So yeah, you know, shockingly, I'm not on 69x anymore now. I'm on like 25x, which is still degenerate to most people, and which is still too high for most people. But I also understand position sizing and, you know, risk management and that sort of thing. So, which I talk about in that BloFin video. So you can check that out if that's something that interests you. But other than that, my friends, stay safe out there. May the crypto gods treat you well. I hope these markets are gentle and prosperous for you guys. I hope you guys make a killing out there in this volatility. As traders, we should not care which way these markets are going. It is just exciting to see them moving, period. So I am absolutely loving what's happening. Hopefully you are too. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.